Letitia James is under investigation for falsifying records to get loans. Funny, isn't this exactly the thing she tried to prosecute Trump for?
I don't like clowns.
According to a new poll, California voters are not excited about Kamala Harris running for governor. To improve her support among Hispanics, she's been working with a consultant. Letitia James is under investigation for falsifying records to get loans. Funny, isn't this exactly the thing she tried to prosecute Trump for? Makes me wonder, what if she banged Stormy Daniels? On one loan, Letitia reportedly listed her father as her husband. "Hey, lady, stay in your lane," said one woman.
My message is simple. No matter how powerful you are, no matter how much money you think you may have, no one is above the law.
The Maryland dad with 3 kids, who also happens to be an illegal, likely a gang member and perhaps a domestic abuser. His name, don't know, don't care. All right? I got a family, a new baby, a dog, a job, a neighborhood plagued by violent creeps. I don't need this. Here's what I do know. He's here illegally, and like Joe Biden after a 3-bean burrito, he has to go. Faced with an adult solution to a real problem, the media yet again creates an imaginary concern from the same playbook that they always use. You worry about voter fraud, they say voter ID is racist. You worry about government fraud and abuse, they claim Doge is cutting Social Security. You worry about crime, they claim all cops are racist. You worry about medical monsters experimenting on children, they claim trans kids are killing themselves. Once you see this grift, you can't unsee it. When we try to solve a real problem, they create the imaginary concern to manipulate public opinion.
Fake news and manipulating public opinion.
But this time it's not working. Overwhelmingly, the American public favored deportations of illegals, no matter what bull you conjure up. So kids or not, he's illegal, he goes. And here's why. Let's go all the way back to a few months ago. Remember those migrants coming in by the millions? Migrants who we had no intel on, who we didn't vet, didn't investigate, who we identified only enough to write checks to? We knew less about those young men than the ones I meet at truck stops. Planes arriving in the middle of the night. New programs created by executive order, supposedly by a guy who couldn't find his way off the stage without a zip line. And all it took to get refugee status was saying, "I hate tortillas." But now it's time for them to leave. Suddenly, we're all social workers. "Oh, he has kids. He works so hard." Well, pal, maybe don't pick a country you're illegally in to start a family. It sounds harsh. Now, when it's compared to the arrogant indifference of Democrats when women got raped and murdered by illegals that they let in. Not to mention the relentless violence in cities they ignored for years because it was under their watch. And now a couple of Democrat congressmen say they want to fly to El Salvador to retrieve this scum, who is an El Salvador citizen, by the way, not an American one. Cory Booker wants to visit the prisoners in El Salvador. And that makes sense. It's the only place where people can't get up and leave when he starts yapping.
The funny part is that he's going to El Salvador to tell them that they're wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then you're going to have to call the White House to get your jailed ass home. That ought to be a fun. I would love to be like, let me answer the phones that night. Hello? Oh, I'll have to put you on hold. Yeah. That's the problem with dumb people.
Yeah.
No, seriously. It's like they're dumb, and we know they're dumb. But the problem is they don't know they're dumb because they're dumb.
Yes.
Are you fucking dumb?
Do the Dems realize they have no authority in El Salvador? El Salvador is a little different than the green room at The View. For one, the tattoos on The View were branded by farmers. Yeah. It's okay. They're used to it.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen was up at the crack of dawn to rescue this guy from a Central American prison.
I'm here at the airport. I'm about to board my flight for San Salvador. The goal of this mission is to let the Trump administration, to let the government of El Salvador know that we are going to keep fighting to bring Abrego Garcia home until he returns to his family. I just landed at the airport in San Salvador a little while ago. I'm now en route into the city. Looking forward to meeting with the team from the American Embassy. The goal of my visit is to talk to people here about the release of Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
But really, the Maryland dad is just the latest awful prop for the latest awful narrative, a diversion to make you forget what the Biden regime chose to import with the media cheering them on. The crime, the fentanyl, the overwhelmed schools, the raped and murdered women. Joe did a killer job, and by that, I mean he actually got people killed. The media wants us crying over this dude? Sorry, I'm saving my outrage for the Americans that Biden, Harris, and Mayorkas burdened, hurt, and betrayed.
That's what it was, a betrayal.
The mainstream media has run more stories on this jackass than they did on the victims of the crime wave created by the open border they created. Look, it's simple. Deportation is the corrective to importation. When they came in, our terrible leaders didn't ask questions. Instead, they cared more about border agents getting whipped or whipping migrants. So now, when it's time to go, I'm not wasting mental shelf space on their concerns. Oh, but we're not sure he's MS-13. That sounds like a lot of the guys Kat used to date. But I repeat, I don't care. And don't get me started on, but isn't there a process? Yes, there is. Yes, there is. It's called hit the road. You can argue the legal all you want. Have at it, Clarence Darrow, whatever his name is. But all of that is downstream from the initial massive injustice, a Democrat government that deliberately flooded the country with illegals. If they didn't create this mess, we wouldn't have to clean it up. It's that simple. If you want to argue the legal implications, call 1-800-I-DON'T-GIVE-A.
Whisper. Good job, Whisper. Whisper. Good job. That's not a whisper. You have to whisper.
Nope. You whisper bark. You go woof. Yeah, like that. Woof. Good job. That's a better one.
Can you protect me more quietly?
Whisper. That's opposite no. Whisper.
Speak. Good girl. Whisper.
Oh. Shh. No. No.
Yes. Yeah. Whisper.
Oh.
Whisper. Whisper.
I need to tell you something, but you gotta come here so I can whisper it to you. You look like a potato.
Don't tooth this time. Whisper.
Quiet speak. Quiet speak. Good girl. Quiet speak.
It is a messed up world.